On September 22, 2010, the phone rang at the northern New Jersey home of Joe and Jane Clementi.
Port Authority police had called and said, "We have your son's wallet and cell phone. You need to come to the station."
What were you thinking?
Crank call.
But the call was real. Police said it was likely their 18-year-old son, Tyler, a freshman at Rutgers University, had jumped from the George Washington Bridge.
They were wrong. I knew they were wrong. I wasn't hoping, I knew it. I knew they were wrong.
But Tyler's body was found in the Hudson River 7 days later. What happened next turned their private tragedy into a public issue.
Is it safe to say you invaded his privacy?
Well, yes, but...
Okay.
During the investigation, it was revealed that days before Tyler committed suicide, his college roommate, Darun Ravi, had used a webcam to secretly live stream Tyler's date with a man. Ravi and another classmate, Molly Way, were charged with several crimes, including invasion of privacy.
How do you react when somebody says, "Oh, that's just boys being boys. That was just what goes on in dorms"?
Is it? Does that happen in dorms?
Tyler was the youngest of 3 boys. James, now 29, Brian, 26.
And then there's Tyler, my baby, who will be forever 18. He had a great passion for music. He loved music, and he was an accomplished violinist.
I was very protective of him growing up. I was 6 years older than him.
James Clementi.
Really wanted to be able to protect him from anything harmful in life.
The family, always close, regularly attended an evangelical Christian church. Only later did Jane and her husband realize that the church's message was causing anguish at home.
What was that message?
That being gay is a sin.
I felt for a long time that there was something wrong with me, and I had to hide that from people.
Could you talk to your parents? Did you feel that you could?
I wanted to talk to my parents, and that was really the scariest conversation that I could imagine having.
But in the summer of 2010, right before Tyler went to Rutgers, James did reach out to his younger brother, and they both came out to each other.
He seemed very relieved to finally have it be out in the open, and it actually felt great. It felt like this huge weight was lifted.
And then just 3 days before he left for college, Tyler decided to come out to his mother. She felt the conversation went well.
We both were crying, and we were both hugging each other. We even talked about being safe, because I was concerned.
And what do you mean by safe?
I just had this sense of harm. I know it's hard to understand. It's strange to go back to that place. There was a suicide of a junior in that high school in June. So we had talked about suicide, and at the time I really couldn't understand how anyone could be so sad to harm themselves. I've since learned how you can be that sad.
After his death, Jane learned that Tyler thought she had rejected him.
That was a terrible moment to know that that's how Tyler thought our encounter was, because it was so far from the truth, or my truth, and yet it was probably his truth.
And Jane didn't know what Tyler then went through at school until nearly 2 years later, when in February 2012, Darun Ravi went on trial.
And while the video iChat was connected, the defendant made sure that the camera was angled towards Tyler's bed.
Witnesses said that Ravi and Molly Way watched a few seconds of Tyler kissing his date. Ravi then announced on Twitter there would be a viewing party for a second live showing.
When Tyler learned he had been spied on here in his dorm room, he complained to the university and asked for a roommate change. But he never said anything to his family.
He wouldn't let me help him. And a mom's supposed to know everything, aren't they? And I didn't know this, and I couldn't help him.
Why do you think he didn't reach out to you? He knew if there was one person who would understand it was you?
I think about that question every day, and I don't have an answer. He just saw the dorm, the Twitter feed. He became very fixated on that and didn't see beyond it.
At 8:42 on the night of September 22, 2010, Tyler posted a simple message on Facebook. Jumping off the GW Bridge, sorry.
The last thing on his computer before he left for New York were these posts of people making fun and jokes about him, about a really private moment that should have remained that way.
What was the defendant's reaction?
Just shocked and...
Molly Way entered a plea agreement and avoided prosecution. But in March 2012, Darun Ravi, who was never charged with causing Tyler's death, was convicted on 15 counts, including bias intimidation, a hate crime.
Mr. Ravi will report to the Middlesex County Adult Correctional Center to serve a 30-day jail term.
He was released after 20 days. The case is still on appeal by both sides.
Did his roommate ever reach out to either one of you?
No.
How would you describe, Jane, what your family has been through over the last 5 years?
The journey has been as if I've been in a fog, a really, really deep fog. I would say it only started lifting last year in the spring of 2014. And it's been in that time that I needed to try to pull my life back together because it was shattered into a million pieces.
Thank you, thank you.
And this is how the Clementis are doing that.
We may not be able to go back and change Tyler's actions, but we can move forward to make sure that no other youth ever experiences the pain, hurt, or shame that Tyler experienced.
They are speaking out against cyberbullying, raising awareness and money.
There really are not a lot of resources for people who are being targeted online.
4 years ago, they established the Tyler Clementi Foundation, led today by Sean Kozovsky.
What we're trying to do is end online and offline bullying in schools, workplaces, and faith communities.
This week, the foundation will roll out a new campaign called Day One.
It's premised on the idea that if you stand up on the first day of school, the first day of work, or the first day on the sports team and say, you will never treat anyone here differently because of who they love, how they dress, or what their body looks like. There will be consequences for that. That is powerful. A lot of young people do not hear a person in authority make a clear statement about what is expected of them or what won't be tolerated.
They're not just focusing on bullies, but also on the witnesses, asking bystanders to become what they call upstanders by reporting bullying. Jane herself feels she was a bystander at the church she once loved and has since left.
We were going to schools and workplaces and telling people to be upstanders and to not be passive. And that's what I felt like. I was just going and sitting in the pew and being passive. I know that when Tyler told me he was gay, what I really wanted was another Christian mom to go and talk to. But you know, no one in my faith community ever talked about having a gay child. No one had a gay relative. There was no gay in our church. And until families come out and can be found, you can't help each other.
What do you tell parents?
Don't underestimate what your child is going through. Even though you may not think it's a big deal, they may think it's the end of the world.
It will be 5 years. Will this be a particularly tough September 22nd?
Everyone is tough.
I can't even think that far ahead. Whenever I start thinking too far ahead like that, I just get into such a deep, sad place that I've learned to try to stay present in the moment.
You're not completely healed.
Not even near healed. I don't know what healed will be like. I don't know that there is a word for healing. I think it's learning to live through the pain.